What's up, people? I'll get on here today and talk to you for half a second. What is the date? It is is it Wednesday? I know I took a day off. Yeah, Wednesday the 16th of November. Cheers. Let's celebrate my crooked lamp. Very satisfying taste. It is. I have other coffees, but this one just hits the spot, and I'm a creature of habit. So how is everyone and what's been going on? I'm going to leave the news alone because it just doesn't make sense. So what I will continue to do is just recap some records that are sitting out that have been played or I've been thinking about playing. Okay, how's that? Really do hope that everyone's doing okay. And we got our first snow last night. It was flurries, but it's white. And did it? Yeah, the street is covered too. It's cold enough that the street is still covered. So we've got our first snow last night. So let's continue. Yeah, good to hear from you, Mark. And I knew I was close. You're an eye doctor. So, someone on Facebook in a group, I posted the rides, and some people like to be, snarky. I'm so glad I know the truth about the mind. Someone said, "Oh yeah, I used to listen to all that stuff when I was a teen." Yeah, I'm still listening to it. So, you also gave this to me, Mark, Carnival of Light. And when you gave it to me, I couldn't get into it because it was so obvious that the original spark was gone and that they were trying different things. There's a gospel-y feel. There's a kind of a bluesy thing. And so it's good for them to be stretching their wings, but it didn't work. Carnival of Light, what they do is the original sound that they started with, that's what they do. And it was almost gone completely on this. I don't have the new records, but I've heard the newer records where it's like, okay, they're back on track, or they always were good. But I enjoyed that. Listened to it all the way through with a new perspective. Massive Attack. This is a 12-inch clear vinyl remixes of Rising Sun. And this is one where it works. It's only the song Rising Sun, except for Super Predators. And the remixes are good enough that listening to them in a row works. As a rule, that doesn't work for me, is to listen to one song remixed over and over again on a release. Usually I have to listen to one remix and then come back and hear a different one. Related to the band Man, Neutrons, Black Hole Star. Is this the second or first Neutrons album? It's the only one I have. And this is good stuff. It's that good old English sound and feeling that I totally relate to. I'm not English. I'm from Omaha, but this music feels like home to me. It's there's a real strong nostalgic element to it that when certain songs come on and certain sounds of the guitars and stuff, I'm at home. I feel good. And along those lines, that's also another reason why I enjoy living alone and being single, is because I don't have to answer to anyone else here in my home regarding what I listen to or what I do. If I want to listen to music that I listened to when I was a kid, still, I can. I don't have to deal with someone saying, what are you listening to that for? What are you playing that for? Take that off. I don't have to deal with that. I can play whatever the hell I want. It feels good. This was out in the other room in the I have so many records. There's records in my kitchen. I just decided, well, I haven't pulled anything from these cabinets since I put them in there. Hardly. A lot of compilations are in out there. So this is one I pulled this morning. Tokyo Mobile Music. Came out in the 80s. Around 81 or 82. And this was the first time I had anything by Akiko Yano on vinyl. It's got 2 tracks by her on here, backed by the band Yellow Magic Orchestra. Love it. There's also a Yukihiro Takahashi from YMO on here. Those are my favorites. Hikashu does Kraftwerk's The Model on here, but it's really not memorable. But that was a fun listen. Okay, I want to try to talk, because I get into jags of certain areas of music and time. And yesterday got into this sound again. You know, I'll go for a long time not listening to certain things, but then when I go and play it again, it's like, oh yeah, that's why I really like this. Radio Department, some European band, much younger than me. It sounds like these songs were about relationships, which don't really interest me, but this fella's voice, Clinging to a Scheme is the name of this album. But the sonority, the chord changes, and the way his voice lays on this music, I think this is excellent. The Radio Department, love this. Man, I'd love to hear music like this on the radio. So good. Looks like he's getting a good hit there. Real good hit. And then the follow-up, I also have Pet Grief on CD. But I also have this on vinyl. Running Out of Love. It's not quite as good as Clinging, but it's still got that it's kind of hard for me to describe in words. I really, really like this blend. The way everything blends together. And it's really good. Recently, these people were celebrating the release of this, some 40-something or whatever years ago, Fragile by Yes. I still remember, like some of you, when we were kids and you'd lay in the bed when you're supposed to be sleeping and you're listening to the radio. And that's when I heard this, it woke me up. Those opening chords, Steve Howe and Rick Wakeman, I was blown away, seriously. And saved my pennies and bought this immediately. And it's another one of those albums where it was strange. I went to this all-boys Catholic school with all these rich kids, and yet I would take my records to school to share, and people would beg me to borrow them. This one I ended up getting back. This is not my original copy, because when I got my original copy of Fragile back that I very hesitantly loaned to several people, it was trashed. I was so disrespected by so many uppity white kids. Reminds me of what we're dealing with politically. Uppity white people who just think they are entitled to anything they want and just cause shit for people. But this is a fantastic album, and I really enjoyed listening to it. It had been probably over 10, 20 years I'd listened to Fragile. Here's an EP where the one song saves it. C.C. Ryder. Don't know anything about this band. 1990. The Lazy label, My Bloody Valentine, were on this label. The opening tracks, She Sings Alone. Very simple, repetitive, but I love it. I wish I could play it for you. I would love to play it for you, but I want to play it all the way through because it builds. They just keep repeating, and yet it builds. And the way the drummer plays the beat is, yes! I think this is a killer recording. Just killer. Thank God for music and art. Because when I look at the music, when I look at the news, it's like it's so disappointing. Oh, so I talked to Ron Anderson yesterday on the phone, and we're going to do a Zoom here pretty soon. It was really good to finally actually talk to Ron Anderson, my lung puppy. I could tell by through our videos that we would vibe, and we vibed right away on the phone, right away. So that's coming up when he feels like it. Noi 86, is it? Yeah, Noi 86. This originally was released as Noi 4. And this is a mixed bag where some tracks, I love this color vinyl. Some tracks are really throwaway, just like they're having fun. And then there's other tracks where, oh, this is really working. This is more of that magical sound from Germany. Other people do this sort of motoric sort of thing, but no one does it like Noi, Michael Rother, Klaus Dinger, these folks, the Kluster Camp. Got on a big jag of listening to Red Lorry, Yellow Lorry yesterday. These are still out. I put some away. Got turned on to this band through just always hanging out down at Drastic Plastic back in the day, in the 80s. And when this came in, Monkeys on Juice, I happened to be there one day when Mike or Liz were playing it. And it was like, oh man, what is this? It was like Joy Division on 10. That heavy, monotone type of voice, but a really strong, gritty guitar approach. Drum machine, but it works. I think they're from Leeds. Love this band. Never got to see them. I'll get in the mood, so I have to hear a bunch. It all started with this single, actually, Open Up, which is one of their later, which is not later now, but Open Up. And this really went down well. So I went back and put on their first album, Paint Your Wagon. What a cover, too. Look at that. That's one of my favorite covers, too. Partially the colors, the burnt image. It's with the limited edition with the single. Love it. And then their second album, Talk About the Weather, which is not as good. It's smoothed out. It's like they're trying to expand. It's still pretty good, but nowhere near as tough as the first album. Now here's one a few days ago I played. Just pulled, it's like I haven't played this in a while. This goes back to a period of my life when the Saddle Creek Records thing was going on in my life. And I was embracing what they were doing and noticing the influence. This is a artist from the Middle East or someplace not particularly usual. I think he lives in America, but I forget. I looked him up. You can see, dark-skinned man. The 1 a.m. radio. This too will pass. There's one side of this that is a keeper. It's singer-songwriting, but I can definitely hear where he's influenced by the Saddle Creek approach of Bright Eyes and stuff. Horns and strings, and it's real personal. But like I said, this is a double album. One side of this really, really works. I mean, it's real good. It's so good, it's like, why didn't I just keep going in that direction? I checked out some of his other recordings, and none of them passed muster. This is the one. This too will pass by the 1 a.m. radio. Now, let me make sure I'm not passing something up that got, because things get buried sometimes. Yeah, well, here's something else. When I bought the used, I also got this, and I haven't really absorbed it yet. But composer, musician John Adams, Light Over Water. I haven't even really dumped into it. It still has the price sticker. I usually take them off right away. Contemporary music, it's in the area of Philip Glass, Steve Reich, modern composers. I need to get into this today. John Adams, Light Over Water. So that's my musical check-in today. Hello, everyone. Hello, Phil. I'll say hello to you. Mike Saba, hello to you. Hello, family. Stephanie, I know you'll be joining me. At least ways usually you do. And all you other folks, so I can't recall your names right now. Thanks for being with me. Well, I'll say this much, because I do part of my routine, and I do keep a routine which keeps me sane. I got more work done on the Pat Allen. I've got the Pat Allen track. Pat, if you see this, I now have the Pat Allen track. It's not longer, but I've got it sounding so good that I want to listen to it. But I'm actually at the point where it's like, okay, some elements may have to come out, and that's when I know. For me, that's when I know that things are really cooking. Is when I put so much flavor in that now I have to look at what needs to come out for it to be balanced. And the Pat Allen is coming along. So that's what I'll be working on today. But the other thing I was trying to say is that it's part of my routine to look at the different news feeds from around the world. And I look at a bunch, and you have to read between the lines, because everything is propaganda around the world. Everything is biased. There is no clear perspective from any news outlet. None. It's all biased. So of course I watch all the American ones, but I watch Deutsche Welle, I watch France, I watch Sky News, I watch Australia, Al Jazeera, I watch African news. Those are my main go-tos, okay? And so it'll be interesting to see how the latest political madness is discussed today. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It don't even make sense that it's unfortunate that we're still dealing with that man. Okay, again, let's leave it on a positive note. Here's my noisy neighbor. Whatever you do at whatever time you see this, make it good. Be good to yourself. Remember what I was saying on Monday. Many of us would do well to step away from the Western way of thinking. If I have to do this, I got to acquire this, I got to get that, and then I'll be all right. Try to be all right where you are. Try a different perspective of just acceptance of the self, and just become aware of what's good now. Probably some things that are really good in your life now that you might be so focused on something you want or something someone else has that you think you need, that you're missing your own joy, your own happiness. So bring it back to the moment. Everything is, everything's pretty cool. For me, a real easy perspective to share is I look out the window and see that it snowed last night. I'm so glad I'm not homeless. I've been homeless twice. So glad I don't have to sleep on the cold ground. So glad that I can have a cup of coffee. Simple things. I don't have to have a whole lot of money and foolishness to be fulfilled. And I have a lot of love in my life too. And I don't have to have people coming over here all the time telling me, "Hey, Dereck, what you doing? You all right?" I don't need that. I know. Okay? Take care, people.